Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, the derby rolls around again. Somebody said to me today that the derby maybe was a bit watered down because Sundown's the top of the league, but I don't accept that, because if you ask our supporters, if you ask the Pirates supporters, if you ask the Pirates sponsors or our sponsors, if you ask anybody involved with each football club, there's not only bragging rights or the 3 points, but there's history and there's prestige, and it makes it much more special than a normal game. So for all those respects, we've been working very, very hard. And as we move closer to the game, obviously the focus is on being able to come into the game in the right frame of mind so we can give a good performance. So that's what we're working on at the moment. And the tragedy is that the supporters are not there. That's what makes the Soweto Derby, really. But for all the other reasons I've just given, we will still be fired up for it and ready to go.
Thank you very much, Coach. Lebu, maybe just, your thoughts. It's a big one, but from, players' camp or the players' point of view, how are things, heading into that match?
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I mean, like the coach said, so most probably the biggest game in the country. We all know that. We all know what it comes with and what it requires, because so many of us have played in it before. Unfortunately, it won't be the same without the fans, like the coach said. But yeah, I mean, it's another important 3 points, that we are looking to take, and to further our steps in terms of the direction that we want to take as a team.
All right, I will now take questions from the floor, just by show of hands. And the first one will be Karabo. You can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fatu. Good afternoon, Coach. Good afternoon, Lebu. And good afternoon to all my colleagues as well. Coach, we had a post-match yesterday as well with Pirates, and Coach Mandla Ngigas has accepted that the league is definitely out of their hands. It's up to Sundowns to lose it. What are your thoughts on those comments, and what you think about that statement? And going into the derby, Coach, how does it make you feel that you guys are going into a derby? I think as an honest man, as you've always been, the league title is really far off. Is that the case? And how does it feel going into such a big game that both Pirates and Chiefs seemingly are out of the title? And Lebogang Manyama, you've been at the club for quite a while now. You're a senior player at the club. You've won nothing with the club. I think just the Cullen Black Label, nothing official. Going through the stats for you as well as one of the senior players of the club, having won nothing going into the derby. Just your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I don't want to comment on what one of the Pirates coaches says, because he's looking at things from a Pirates perspective. He's looking, and I'm not in that camp, so I don't want to validate or not validate what he says. If you want an opinion from the Chiefs camp, it's one that this has been a very difficult season in many ways. It's been a difficult season in terms of trying to restructure the squad and bring about some changes there. And then it's been COVID and pandemic and mini pandemic within our club. I think we've had more than our share of hardships due to that. We've got the ongoing saga about games to be played or not played. So we're in a position where, if I'm not wrong, when I checked the log last night, with three games, which is 9 points potentially. Plus we have to play Sundowns again. So that can be a 12-point swing, and I think that 12 points means that you're not completely out of the picture. But if you're a betting man, I don't think the same anybody catching theoretical chance, but that is only a theoretical chance because I'm a Kaizer Chiefs person, I'm a Kaizer Chiefs coach, and I believe in my players, and I believe in this football club. So rationally and sane people will not agree with me, but that is what we've got to do as professionals. We've got to find a reason for winning every game. And if there's no other reason, there is the one that our supporters want to go and support a successful team and not a team that throws the towel in. So we won't do that, and we will keep going, and we will try and breathe down Sundown's neck as best as possible. But it's theirs to lose, isn't it? So it would be a massive upset if they were to lose it. But we're going to keep going, and I think that's the only way to go.
Okay, let's take the next question. Sobri. Oh, I think Lebu, there was a question for you there as well. Just I think from Karabo. Did you get it, or should we repeat it?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, obviously it's been disappointing. You know, we haven't been able to just get over the line. You know, in the couple of years we've been in finals, semi-finals. You know, but yeah, obviously a club like Kaizer Chiefs, I think, deserves a trophy or two each and every season. You know, and we try and we haven't been able to get over the line. You know, but what matters is that, you know, we try and improve each and every year. And I think we've taken huge steps this season as a team, as individuals. You know, and everybody is in the same line in terms of the direction that the coach wants us to take, you know. So there's been a lot of improvement, and I think we're not far off, you know, from that. But yeah, obviously we'll never be perfect, but I don't think we're far from where the coach wants us to be. And I think that's a big positive to take, you know. And unfortunately, you know, our fans, we haven't given them anything in a couple of years, which saddens us also. But it's not that we don't want to, you know, but we just haven't been able to get over the line. But we are trying to get over that line, and soon enough, I think we will stand a good chance to get over the line.
Okay, Sobri.
Thank you very much, Fatu. Coach, firstly, I need to agree with you. I still believe that the derby is still one of the best spectacular in this country and the continent. This question is directed to Lebo. Lebo, as a player and one of the strikers, if I look at the scoring chart of the league, you know, the best scoring player at Kaizer Chiefs, which could be Kama and Kigen, they're at 6 goals, when the leading goal scorer is at 14 points. Are you guys looking at rectifying that, starting with this coming game? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the coach mentioned it the previous game, and he's been mentioning it to us, I think, for the past 2 weeks. We create so many chances to kill off games, I think, since the beginning of the season. You know, I think had we taken probably 80% of our chances that we create, we would have had somebody, I think, in double figures by now, you know. But I think, yeah, what matters is that we are creating. We're not really looking into that, you know, but it's a good thing that at least we've got scorers coming from all over, which means we don't have one goal scorer, you know. But yeah, I mean, we've created so many chances. We just haven't been able to take most of them. And it's something that we try to work on in training, and it's improving. But surely, I think soon enough, you know, we'll score all the goals that we try to create.
Okay, let's move on to Mazola.
Thanks, Fatu. Hi, my question is to Coach Stuart. Coach, what sort of game do you expect, especially looking at the last time you played against, I think it was late October or early November? I mean, your team has sort of, I mean, apart from that little mini pandemic you had at Naturena, your lineups have been pretty consistent, whereas Pirates changed quite a lot, maybe because of also them competing in CAF competitions. But what sort of game do you sort of expect?
No, I think if you look at Pirates throughout the history, they have a certain style, and so no matter which coach comes in and no matter which players they have certain ethics that they uphold. I think Chiefs are very much the same in a different way, but then the coach comes in and puts down strategies, and then they get a bit of a tweak. And we're the same. And then when you get to the derby, you look at your opponents and you say, well, can we tweak something on the day to make us more unpleasant for our opponents? And we'll try to do that. But what you do know is, the Pirates will play quickly. They will mix their game. They will go behind you sometimes. They will play in front of you sometimes. They've got quick players. It's usually a physical game because it's a derby. And the mental part is very, very important. That we've got to keep ourselves calm, yet aggressive. We've got to keep ourselves focused, yet spontaneous. So you don't want to get bogged down with the event. You've still got to perform, and to do that, you've got to be not anxious. You've got to be motivated, and not fearful, but inspired. So all of those things we can work with, and I think what sort of game it's going to be, unless they throw something in like we are planning to do. So it can be a little tweak, but it may be just the team that manages the day best will win the game.
Moving on to, I think it's Yolulwe. If you can just introduce yourself there.
Africa. Good afternoon, everyone. Coach, this question is directed to you. You've got quite an impressive record when it comes to playing against Orlando Pirates. Doesn't matter whether you are wearing the badge of Kaizer Chiefs or SuperSport United. What do you think works for you and your teams every time you come up against Orlando Pirates? What is that secret formula that you think you have over the Buccaneers, and how much of that can you or are you hoping will work in your favor going into this big encounter this weekend?
Well, I'm absolutely not going to profess that I have any secret formulas. I think that's a recipe for disaster. What I'll say is every time I go into a derby, whether it's a Soweto Derby or it's a Stockholm Derby or it's the Hiroshima Derby or any derby I've ever played in, then you've got to try and perform at your best on the day. The team that wins the derby is usually the team that plays normal, not the team that plays outstanding. The losers of the derby are usually anxious, and they're usually worried, and they're usually looking at the clock, and they're usually overhyped and getting red cards and making decisions that lose the game, bad decisions that lose the game. So the team that plays normally usually is the team that wins the game. So if there's any secret, and I don't know if it is, because I think probably everybody knows it, then it's to do as much as you can to get a good performance out of the team and not wind them up so much that they give a useless performance. So we'll be going into the game. We'll be trying to be inspired by the occasion, but keeping our feet on the ground and keeping our motivation at the right level, and then have a game plan and then go out and execute that. And if you do that, you've done everything you can.
Thank you, Coach. Velile.
Thank you. My question goes to Lebo. Lebza, the question has been asked before about the difficulties the club has been going through. But when it comes to this, it also sometimes the focus comes to the senior players, and even in terms of the responsibilities, and especially with some of you, the contracts also coming to an end. In terms of the challenges that the club have been going through, what has been, I know even at the club you have 2 change rooms where you also have the seniors. As the seniors, and especially after you had lost the league title and you went through the struggles of last season, but at least you got to make the Champions League final. But in this particular season, what's the feeling coming from the guys about what you've been going through?
Obviously, disappointment with not having won a single trophy this season, and it's obviously, I don't think it's pressure. When you say pressure, for me, I think every day is pressure. Every day there's pressure in something, whether it's in your life or at work. So I think we relish being under this sort of pressure, and I think when you come to Chiefs, you already know that this is what you're going to face. So yeah, for us, the senior guys is to try also help, the young boys and make them understand how big this badge is and what it means, and that you cannot take it lightly because you represent so many people, in this country. So yeah, I mean, we try to keep the squad together, and obviously from the outside, it might look like, yeah, they haven't won a trophy and there isn't much of an improvement, but there's been a huge improvement in terms of the unity, and like the coach said, a few days before that, everybody is back, and for him, I think it's a nice headache to have everybody back, because I think that's what he wants, and there's trust in everybody, whoever you can put in can always do the job, So when you have that kind of thing, then for me, I think there's a huge improvement because now everybody makes everybody better, and like I said, from the outside, you might think, there isn't much of a difference from last year or the years before, but there's been a huge improvement. And I mean, like I said, to cross that line that we want to cross is not far off from now.
Let's move on to David.
Thank you, Fatu. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a question for Coach Stuart. This is if we count the Carling Black Label Cup, it's the third Soweto Derby this season, and we could see the third different Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper. Itumeleng Khune obviously started in the Black Label Cup. Akpei started in the first leg of the league, and now Brandon Peterson has played the last 2 games and kept a clean sheet. Can you share some light on the goalkeeper situation, and maybe just a quick update on your squad, whether there are any notable absentees? Thank you.
Well, I'll take the second part first. Samir is suspended, and that's the apart from the 2 big injuries that we've got to Cole Alexander and Sibusiso Mabiliso, then I think we got a clean bill of health. We've got some of the players that are coming back from injuries that have had more game time and therefore make themselves more in the picture. But that's up to me now to just find the balance and the correct team that we think can get the job done. Apart from the goalkeeper situation has not changed. The goalkeeper situation is that we have. We're very lucky that we have 4 goalkeepers that are competing very, very hard. We have two of the younger variety, 2 of the more experienced variety, and the 2 of the more experienced variety keep pushing every day. And at the moment, Brandon got a hold of the shirt and has had a couple of shutouts, and therefore he's looking secure at the moment. But he knows he's under so much pressure from the others that gives us a healthy competition.
Mazola.
Okay, thanks, Fatu. My question is to Coach Stuart again. Coach, the last derby, there was, I think, a debutant in Sibusiso Mabiliso. He's played two minutes, I think, during December ever since. I'm just wondering what he needs to do, whether there's been, injury concerns or what has happened for him to play a full, which I think a lot of people thought it was an impressive derby debut, but only 2 minutes since.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, we can probably go through every position in the team and say there's a case for someone else getting a run. Now, Maba has been he's been very, very hard working. He's shown a great attitude. I think he's got a lot of the basics of our way of playing. He's got that to come. Difficult to concentrate, boys, when there's a party going on in the background. Thank you. No, but Maba has worked really, really hard, and he's a great lad, and he's a great professional. So we just think that he's got a few basics to tighten down before we throw him in and give him that run that that you're sort of alluding to, that when is he going to get those 4 or 5 games to establish himself? Then I would say if he keeps going the way he is, then that is just a question of time. It's not a question of it's never going to come because of the X, Y, Z. I think he's doing a good job, and he's a great squad player, and we're happy to have him around.
Thank you, Coach. Karabo, a quick question. Just one, please.
Okay, thank you. Coach, in regards to the derby going into it, just a quick one in terms of one of the experienced players. I think it's always going to come up, Itumeleng Khune, Coach. The last time he's played an official derby was in 2018 in November. That's almost 3 years. Is there any chance that we might be seeing him on the bench or maybe playing on Saturday? Thank you.
Well, I've not been at the club 3 years, so I can't speak about what was happening before I came. But as I say, we have got such competition between our goalkeepers that you could be seeing Itu on the bench, you could be seeing him starting in the next game. So that's the competition that we've got. And the credit that I give to Itu is the fact that he has had such an outstanding career. He played for me for the national team. He played for me for Kaizer Chiefs in a title-winning team, and he finds himself in the position he's in with arguably the best goalkeeper squad in the league, and he's still coming to training every morning and doing his work and making himself as available as possible. So that's the credit I will give him. I mean, if he was to stop doing that, you would see a lot of things drying up for Itu. But he's decided that he wants to be serious about his career. He's decided he's going to put as much pressure on the others as he can. And he's decided that he wants to give himself the best chance. When he doesn't do that, he'll probably knock on my door and say, Coach, you know what? Throwing myself around in the penalty area and getting kicked is not the fun it was. I'm going to pull out. He hasn't done that. We're very pleased about that. And he's still competitive. So I can't tell you when he's going to get in the team. It'll be a lot of factors, I'm sure, but as long as he keeps himself available and selectable, then he's always got a chance.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Velile, is it a quick one? I can give you a very quick one, direct one.
Yes. It's a new question, Fatu.
Yeah, I'm saying just keep it brief, please, because we have to end.
Okay, sharp. No, I just want to ask the coach. Earlier, there was a talk about being far from Sundowns and maybe that the gap being, especially with 6 points that is not in their hands with the situation there. But beating Pirates, especially with Pirates having played even a game more when you put aside the 2 games that in the legal boardroom case. Do you see this game as a game that could potentially help you to get the Champions League spot come end of the season? Because I think after going all the way to the final last season, playing in the Champions League is the ultimate now for Kaizer Chiefs.
I think you're right. I think if we can just take our focus off the boardroom and the court and the barristers and the people that are going to be discussing the 6 points, the 2 games, even at that extra game is important. So if we can take 3 points in this game, it really does cement our intentions. And I think that's important. I think the quicker we get the other things sorted out, the easier it will be for us to bring some sort of pressure to bear on Sundowns, if that's possible. And as I say, I think that argument, that discussion is probably very, very, a very, very slim one. But as a Kaizer Chiefs coach, you've got to be able to say, seriously, that let's make the best we can from the situation we've got. Let's bring as much pressure to bear as we can. And we know that the quicker that's solved, the better. We know that if we can beat Pirates, that will cement us there and that will bring pressure to bear. and then we have a game against Sundowns. And if we could win that one, that would also bring pressure to bear. And if we don't, and we lose those games, then the pressure will be much, much less, and it'll be clean sailing, I would imagine, and we'll all just battle it out for the top three behind Sundowns.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. Thank you, Lebu, and thank you to all members of the media. We're gonna have to end it here. Have a good afternoon further. Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen.